For the collective, is there anything that you want them to know? Last message. Okay, so somebody wanted a sweetheart to lose a gift. Somebody with an imagination, somebody that has a brilliant mind or some kind of expanded intellectual framework. They didn't want the sweetheart to get a gift, or they wanted them to lose a gift. So they caused some kind of accident or injury here, but somebody didn't withdraw. Therefore, they're not homeless, or they didn't lose their place in life, their position, their dream, their imagination, and now somebody's frightened. Because somebody was supposed to be able to trap somebody original. They thought that they trapped somebody. This is a failed collaboration. Because somebody's not overloaded. It has to do with something being fated for someone. Somebody here could be a psychic. Doesn't have to be for everybody. Yeah, now somebody's not relaxed because somebody's not somebody's friend, or this is a broken alliance, or these aren't somebody's enemy or something. Like this isn't real friends. Something is not merit making either. Something doesn't originate with somebody. They tried to trap the one that it originated with, and they couldn't trap them because something's faded. And now somebody's frightened because this is a failed collaboration, or because somebody doesn't want to work with somebody anymore. They tried to cause an injury to a sweetheart so that they wouldn't get a gift. But somebody's not overloaded, and they're not homeless, and they're not trapped. They trapped themselves, is what I'm getting. Well, that sounds like karma to me. Okay, well, let's see. Okay. What messages for the collective? Yeah, the karmics be karmicking. They don't know how to stop. They're always karmicking, y'all. Okay, something about nourishing, self-growth, self-focused, soul-finding. Yeah, somebody knows how to nourish themselves, or somebody needs to nourish something, or somebody's been nourishing their self-growth. So therefore, they weren't able to pull this off because they tried to pull it off on somebody who loves themselves. Yeah, something about a Ferris wheel. Good will come, the bad will pass, because somebody has nourished something or themselves. So regardless of this very sticky situation, they've been holding things together and fixing things in their own path, regardless. Because they refuse to be in sorrow or take a loss or stay in depression or grief because they know they didn't deserve it. They nourished themselves. Yeah, they cleansed something. They cried it out. They cleansed something. They looked at the bright side. There's silver lining here. They went within. They healed. They nourished their self-growth. And so they were able to see from the height of the Ferris wheel instead of go round and round. They really paid attention to what they saw, so they didn't have to keep going round and round. You know what I mean? Somebody here is a trustworthy friend. But somebody here didn't do anything with the friend. So it didn't really make sense. Or there's somebody here that keeps going round and round in a cycle with a friend. There's some kind of farewell here or closure because of some kind of cheating. Somebody could have cheated. Kangaroos, family unity. Yeah, there was a sticky situation regarding a family. Somebody was rolling with the punches, home away from home, aggressive protection. But why? You were a real friend. You were trustworthy. Yeah, something can't be hidden anymore. Somebody was trying to be obscure, but it's not. These secrets are being revealed because of how much time has gone by. Somebody was waiting for something because they were cheating. Polyamorous energy. They went towards a place that they felt in control and they retreated. They took time to cheat and hang in bed and Netflix and chill with somebody else. Even though somebody was hardworking and very fertile regarding like growth, respect, sweet situation, and a fresh mindset. Somebody was unsure, goat in reverse. They didn't have sure-footedness. Yeah, they were disloyal. So they met with an old friend who's actually an enemy. And somebody felt confident to speak on you and put somebody in a hard fog. They tried to mess somebody up with mixed signals and block their emotions. This frenemy. And that's who they've been chilling up in bed with when you were innocent. They made somebody unsure. They made somebody regress. This is somebody that is not on that person's side, but they feel like it's home because that's what they're used to. Wow. That sucks. Well, let's see. Holy Spirit, holy angels, archangels, ancestors, and the Most High, calling on you to channel your ancient wisdom, your guiding light, your strength, your clarity, with intention towards our blessed North Node. Please bring forth the most important messages for my current collective, clear, concise, and precise. I will interpret these messages from the heart, from the soul. Any negative energy interference, please return to the sender. And on behalf of the collective and myself, we love you, we thank you, we trust you. Somebody's trying to avoid a catastrophe now. Some kind of self-imposed confinement. Some kind of continuous suppression of feelings. Some kind of like slavery of the flesh or limited freedom or inability to change. Yeah. So somebody just, they have nothing else that they can do besides leave it behind. They need to leave their homeland. They need to become independent and self-actualize and relocate and say farewell to all of these people that put them in a heart fog with mixed signals. That's what they need to do. But they don't fight for themselves. They don't have boundaries. They're too uncertain. They're too easily manipulated. What's the problem or the challenge? Some kind of separation, some kind of contradiction or argument, or refusal in a connection, some kind of resentment or termination of a partnership, or unrequited love and failure to compromise or negotiate, lack of activity, wrong direction with something, wrong values, excessive pride, something like this. Two of Cups in reverse, Eight of Cups. Deep down, or the lens somebody's looking through. Eight of Wands. Somebody did something quick. They got some good news and they just left something unresolved and incomplete. They didn't give it any attention. They just left it like, yes, something very toxic and abusive. Unhealthy involvement or greed or excessive dependence or some kind of extreme darkness, rottenness, cruelness, oppression, addiction, or some kind of extreme fear, to where they left this relationship just like unresolved, unfinished, just like without closure. And they did this quickly because they got some kind of good news or good for themselves in the past. Ew. In the past, somebody was reaching their milestones. Somebody could have been getting a lot of attention, getting victories, you know, a lot of good news coming in, solving problems, getting promotions, success. Somebody here could be like an influencer, or they could have been getting a lot of good attention. But as soon as somebody protected themselves, somebody like somebody felt like they had to escape or something. What's the strength? What the hell is this? Yeah. The strength is happiness. The strength is things being illuminated, like confidence. But there was a breakup here. Clear thinking is the strength. Victory is the strength. Prosperity. Satisfaction. But something here was extremely dark. Heavy on the Capricorn energy. Could have to do with materialism. In the near future, somebody's being disillusioned and they're walking away. They're leaving the homeland. They're going to self-actualize. They can realize that not fighting for themselves, being passive and uncertain and insecure isn't working. Advice. Somebody wasn't listening to their intuition when they broke up with somebody or when they separated from somebody. There was a hidden enemy who doesn't have contact with the Most High. They're not tapped in. Somebody here was purposely either trying to make somebody restrain the urges of the heart, or they themselves were restraining their urges of the heart. Because they were being superficial, because some kind of unwanted attention was happening. Or this could be a hidden enemy. Them always suppressing, could have caused their partner to explode in hysterics. Because that's what anyone would do if they felt unsafe, and somebody that does have intuition and knows there's something wrong, but is constantly being told in their face shit that doesn't make sense, eventually that's going to drive somebody into a hysterical episode. Anybody, even the healthiest person. But somebody needs to plant new seeds. Somebody made somebody an offer without putting any energy into it. It was like a false start. It was misconducting themselves. Selfish. They made somebody an offer, and somebody saw that somebody did something sneaky. They ran off trying to take something from them for the devil. They tried to take something from them to give to the devil. Unbelievable. In the environment, yeah, somebody's a coward. There's some kind of disturbing news in the environment as to why something was left unfinished. They thought this was good news. No, it's not. Some kind of unexpected information. Yeah, the truth is here. Clarity. Somebody got really busy in finding the truth, and it's here. This is like an aha moment. This is like overcoming obstacles, radical changes, transcending obstacles, perfect timing, clarity, true clarity from the universe, from spirit. Hope and our fear. Somebody's hoping that they can escape something here and that they're going to have victory regardless of the mess that happened here. Because something's being illuminated. They want to be happy. They want to be victorious. Okay, what's the outcome here? Yeah, something's going to be uncovered here and illuminated. Double confirmation. About a dysfunctional family. That something's not a dream come true. That it's actually misfortune. And it's shameful. This lusty energy comes from a place of insecurity. They need to fight for themselves. They need to fight for their desires and their passions. They need to put energy into going within on their own, meditating, discovering themselves, withdrawing from society, practicing solitary time, planning something carefully instead of sneaking off and doing the devil's work. Somebody steals for some kind of dark organization. That's why they have a blocked heart chakra. A King of Cups. This is how they, something about how they make their money. They need to let go of. They need to let go of this because it's theft. It's not a proper way to make money. Somebody's very lonely. They're suffering. They're sad. It's because they're controlled by some kind of dark force here. Yeah, that's why there was a breakup. Somebody wanted to win at all costs. Somebody was being bullied. They were very motivated to do this. To cause some kind of sinister betrayal or chaos here. Rumors. Sabotage. Causing somebody to fail or misfortune. They were very motivated to do this. Why? A group of people. Because somebody's very immature and they didn't want to make a sacrifice, or they would have had to see something from a new perspective. And so instead, they caused problems at somebody's job, or they just didn't want to show up as a team player and work with somebody. They didn't want to negotiate. Instead, they wanted to bully somebody, a father figure. Yeah, they can't possess a Queen of Cups behind their back, or they have to let go of something. Yeah, somebody wanted to put an end to somebody's faith, their morals, their prayer, their spiritual power, their righteousness, their pure relationship. To their obedience to the Most High, to their moral requirements. They wanted to end that. Or a Scorpio wanted to put an end to a marriage, or no, where somebody sits at in society. Yeah, they wanted to take back their offer and rebel and like end something for someone through bullying. Yeah, they wanted to end somebody and their faith and their belief through hostility, hatred, sabotage. Wow, causes an ending, like a serious ending for somebody. Jesus. Because somebody's that immature. They didn't want something to be fair. Something was very unbalanced, and there was justice here. They didn't like that. Somebody was very equilibrium, balanced, and somebody was very unbalanced. They wanted to swap something around. They didn't want something to be fair. So they went the opposite direction of a very loyal, patient, hardworking, ritualistic, profound, trustworthy, safe commitment. They wanted to throw somebody off course with conflict. But justice is here. Somebody's too fair. They're too integral. They're too just for that. So now Queen of Pentacles in the reverse is going to get abandoned and left out in the cold, as they should have been the entire time. Because that's where this is the person who was competing. This is the reason for this external conflict. A Queen of Pentacles in the reverse. Somebody that steals and is greedy and lazy and superficial, entitled, poverty, lack mindset, somebody that would do anything for money, somebody that is like a leech. They're gold digger. They're the reason for this external conflict. They're going to be the ones that are left out in the cold. As soon as resources run out, they cause conflicts. Ew. They keep somebody immature and in a place where they don't lead like a real emperor. Yeah. Oh my god, dude. This is like a Taurus energy. Somebody married a corrupt, like ignorant, greedy, would burn anyone energy. They went the wrong way. They gave their control away to avoid a tower because they were stuck in a stalemate, or they were unsure. They didn't want to, they were in denial about a Queen of Wands, telling the truth about something, seeing something, fighting for themselves against a toxic matriarch who wanted this Queen of Wands to give their peace away and not fight for their balance. Because they deserve that. And now somebody's stuck with this burden because somebody's a star seed and somebody tried to dominate somebody's shine, somebody's light. They tried to dominate a healer. The audacity. They tried to dominate somebody's childhood dream. They try to control somebody and make somebody dependent. They're rotten. They are rotten. Talking maggots and flies level rotten. This toxic matriarch. I'm getting heavy Taurus energy here. This is somebody who abandons. This is somebody sluggish. Yeah, they were upset about somebody's magic. Somebody's a magician and a starseed, and they're happy, and they've been doing something. They're a sweetheart. They've been doing something that makes them happy since childhood. A childhood dream. They're an earth angel. They're a starseed, earth angel, sweetheart. And this is who they did this to. They tried to dominate this person. Unbelievable. Yeah, you're going to get left behind, bitch. This was a bad plan. Queen of Pentacles in reverse. Two of Wands in reverse. They've been delaying some kind of activity the whole time because of wrong values, because of a failure to negotiate and compromise. They've been they've been causing delays over and over again any way they can. They've been malicious. Oh my god, they've been working with like a corrupt official, or they are this corrupt official. Irresponsible, just selfish, short-sighted, gluttonous, lazy, dependent, insecure, wasteful. Ugh. Somebody's been selfish and malicious and prejudiced and cruel. What's going to happen with the Queen of Pentacles in reverse? They're going to get abandoned and left behind and left out in the cold, it says. That's what should happen. That's what they wanted for an earth angel sweetheart that actually has morals. Something's going to get swapped around. They're going to be unstable and unbalanced mentally. They're going to be sad. They're going to be restless. They're going to be in debt because of unwise spending. They're going to be getting bad news. Everything that they want to happen is going to be delayed. They're going to want to evade reality because somebody here is disillusioning somebody with the truth. It's Queen of Swords. Somebody with a sharp mind and a strong will. Somebody with high cognitive ability and profound insight, who's been fighting for themselves. Somebody's going to have a realistic attitude moving forward. It's going to be easier to make decisions with clarity of thought. Somebody's been purposely scrambling somebody's mind to make them unsure, to make better decisions for themselves. Yeah. All because of a social dynamic. They're going to lose this opportunity and this gift now that somebody's going to be disillusioned. That's what's going to happen. They're not getting this blessing. They're not getting this gift. Period. Queen of Pentacles in reverse is going to be left without closure. And this is going to be celebrated because this person's insecure as hell. And they're malicious. They were malicious to somebody's peace, to somebody's altruism, to somebody's happiness, to somebody's magic. All because they didn't want somebody to negotiate with this amazing person or this amazing, they cause misfortune, instability in a home. Wow, what a horrible person. What a horrible human being. Somebody's going to be happy, taking a new leap of faith in a different direction. And they're going to leave the homeland and bid farewell because they're going to have their fire back. Regardless of this external conflict, they're gonna take initiative, and somebody, whether they're left and imprisoned in their mind or not, whether they lose them to suicide, whether they're left in sorrow and they're in pain and they're lonely, is not their problem anymore. Not their problem. Somebody's not responsible for somebody's emotions. Somebody likes to control people's emotions. Somebody's innocent. Period. Somebody's innocent. They're a true friend. They're an empath. And a father figure doesn't like this. How somebody puts a lot of energy into fighting for themselves and protecting themselves. They don't like this. So they tried to bully somebody, but somebody escaped. That's the truth. That's the truth. Somebody's dysfunctional family or family member didn't trust, they misjudged somebody. They thought somebody would be a coward, but they're not. They're going to leave the homeland. King of Wands. And they're not going to give this family or this father or this Queen of Pentacles in the reverse closure. They're just going to leave. Bye. That's your reading, collective. At least there's some kind of light at the end of the tunnel here, I guess. The only voice you should be listening to is the Queen of Swords, which I think is the sweetheart that had to put their sword up because of all this bullshit crap that they had to deal with because they loved a person. But that's how much they love you, and they love themselves. That's somebody you can trust, not these people. Because they didn't get anything out of this. They only took losses, and they still remain true